Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and the judge in New York's case against Donald Trump, the one that awarded almost $400 million to no particular victim, he just got more bad news. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Since the verdict, several legal experts have weighed in, and they believe that former President Donald Trump is going to be victorious on his appeal of this ridiculous verdict. Now, there was really no victim named, and Letitia James says the money is going to go to the people of New York. Well, the people of New York weren't victimized. The banks got their money back with interest. They were happy. They still want Donald Trump as a customer. Trump is actually in a position where they say nobody's above the law. Trump's actually below the law. They're actually punishing him for things that were not criminal. They're actually just inventing things using archaic, inane laws to punish this man. It's ridiculous, and it should stop. That being said, one of the people who's saying that this judge has a real problem is a former judge herself, Jeanine Pirro, very, very steeped in legal knowledge. I want you to listen to what she has to say and then give me your opinion in the comments. Also, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
And joining us now is Saul Weisenberg, former Deputy Independent Counsel and Fox News contributor, and Tim Parlatore, former Trump attorney. Saul, is this decision supported by the evidence?
Well, I certainly don't see how the part of the decision that imposes a $355 million judgment is supported by the evidence, because as the judge points out in the very first paragraph of his opinion, and as you pointed out, there's no loss from the bank. The loans were repaid. Now, certainly you can legally engage in fraud of all kinds, even if the victim doesn't lose money. But to impose a penalty of $355 million and to bar him for 3 years and his sons for 2 years seems to me to be completely out of proportion to the actual loss here, which was zilch.
And, Tim, the New York decision is basically saying that he misrepresented his wealth. Since when is that a crime? Although the Trumps will not concede to that at all. And they were dealing with the most sophisticated, intelligent banks that knew exactly what they were doing, who got every penny. They made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Exactly. And you're talking about a bank here that did their own due diligence and, testified that they knew what the true numbers were, based on their valuation. But also, we're not just talking about, they say that there's, $1 million in the bank when there's really $5 in the bank. It's valuations that really come into, what is the market value? What is people's opinions of the value? It's not something that is so set in stone. And so, to then bring that to an intent to defraud where they would have qualified for these loans anyway, and clearly they qualified for them because they paid them all back.
They paid them all back. But the interesting thing, Saul, is the decision mentions Ivanka Trump. And reading this, Ivanka Trump was a thoughtful, articulate, and poised witness, but the court found her inconsistent recall depending on whether she was questioned by the Office of the Attorney General or the defense suspect. So how could she be thoughtful and also suspect?
I can't get inside the judge's mind, but I have a question for everybody, which is, where were all of these people during the 35 years before Donald Trump became a announced candidate for president? Why weren't these people investigating this alleged fraud? If there's fraud going on, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, the District Attorney's Office in Manhattan, it doesn't seem like they were doing their job at all. It appears that there was no effort whatsoever to even look at former President Trump until he became a controversial political figure. And as you pointed out, the Attorney General, it is really shocking and unethical for her to be involved in this case when she ran for office on a platform of getting Trump, which, by the way, Alvin Bragg did, and which, by the way, Fonnie Willis did as well.
And, Saul, you and I mean, when I was elected DA or a judge, had I even said that line once, they would have removed me. But Tim, what I'd like to ask you is I want you to take a listen to this sound where the judge had signaled he was going to impose corporate death. Do we have that? All right. Well, apparently the judge has signaled he was going to impose a corporate death penalty. He was going to revoke the business certificates. He didn't do that, and the person was depressed.
Yeah, it's interesting to read the decision where he is reinstating, revoking that portion of the order based on the fact that he's imposing all of these other, so-called controls and giving other people, essentially government-appointed jobs to oversee the Trump organization. And so, by doing that and by, really, giving significant amount of money to a few people, that is something that saves the business licenses.
And Saul, what do you think the chances are on appeal with this case?
I don't know enough about New York civil law, but it strikes me to be constitutionally extremely dubious to basically impose $355 million judgment in a case where there is no loss. That is just mind-boggling to me. I've never seen a case where that happened.
And Saul and Tim, none of us have, because it never has happened. Anyway, thanks so much for being with us this evening.